Hey everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. We're really excited to be here. It's been quite a long time since we've done a product announcement like this. So in fact, this is the first time we've done a product announcement like this. So I'm Dan and this is Eamon from BirdDog.
Hi.
Today what we're going to do is talk through a product announcement. It's actually a family of products. So as we get started with this, I think probably to put it into position, it might be worthwhile, Eamon, you having a bit of chat of how we got here.
Sure. So, yeah. I think we should go all the way back to the start where we released our studio NDI. So this was 4 years ago that this crazy guy came up with the idea for this and invented it. This was the first NDI product on the market in terms of hardware. So this is really, we call it the one that started it all on the website. That's not just for fun, it actually is. And part of what we invented with this product is the 5 functions in one cable, which we probably don't highlight enough. So we do video, audio intercom, power, and tally, all down a single Ethernet cable. Now, we've got a few surprises for you, but I just want you to keep that in mind, five functions. So that's the one that started all. Since then, we've reduced the size of our footprint of boards, and this is our tiny little board that goes inside our cameras, and on there is our NDI chip. And so that's sort of the basis of our whole company, and it's worth highlighting that at the start of this presentation, just to set the mood.
Should we get started?
Let's get started.
Okay, let's jump in. I'm just going to share my screen here and we'll show a little video. Okay, so that's our new product. We'd like to introduce to you the BirdDog Flex family. We're really proud of this. In fact, we're really proud of the whole team here at BirdDog. As Eamon mentioned, it's been 4 years in the making. Our technology that goes into these products has really been built all along that way. We've got the ability to do NDI encoding, decoding, plus a whole bunch of other features, including some really cool new things that we're going to talk about today. Firstly, I'd like to thank all of the engineering team, the product management team, and the whole BirdDog family as well, because it's been a real team effort to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot a little bit of housekeeping actually, so let me just jump in quickly. So down the bottom, you'll see 2 functions. There's a chat window and a Q&A window. If you have a question, please pop it in the Q&A section, and we'll get to them at the end. We'll answer everybody's questions. We'll stay here for an hour if we have to after the event. And so just pop your questions in there.
Yep. Cool. So yes, the BirdDog Flex family, I think the best thing to do now is just jump into our little slide deck and we can start talking about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Really excited. Okay, so what we want to do here with our presentation is talk about the Flex family, but it's more about the features. We don't want to sit here and talk about dot points and power points and things like that, because ultimately people use these products to tell a story. So this is Flex. Flex is a family of products that we've released here. And there's some interesting products within here. So Eamon, go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's 3 in the range, which you can see here. You'll see a monitor recorder there in the middle with a little BirdDog logo on the top, and we'll get into what that is. But that's maybe it's one of the most exciting product in here. But there's 3 products in the range. Here they are mapped out. As you can see, they're insanely small. The footprint, this is my business card. So you can see the footprint is not much bigger than my business card if I hold it up like this. So they're insanely small, tiny form factor, and that's sort of the size of them. We have 3 models, as I mentioned. So the first one is the Flex In. So this is the Flex In. They're all the same size actually, so it doesn't really matter which one I pick up. But the Flex In is a 4K NDI encoder. It's extremely lightweight, and one of the surprise functions is it has actually 15 watts of DC power output through the little DC output plug here, which is pretty cool. And Dan will get into that in a little while.
I'll get down and dirty and talk about some tech features afterwards.
Absolutely, yep. Then we have the Flex Out, which again, it's the same size, so it's there it is. And this is a 4K NDI decoder, and it has HDMI output, 4K NDI decoding. This one doesn't have the 15 watts power because this one will sit behind television screens. There's no real need for additional output on this one.
Yeah, so that one's great for things like client screening. Maybe if you're using Adobe Premiere, or if you're doing Avid Media Composer, you want to have an output from there. Or if you're doing a production where you want to have some breakout screens and things. So it's a great way of decoding 4K content to any HDMI TV screen.
Perfect, exactly, yeah. And I'm not going to lie, this one's my favorite. So this is the Flex backpack, and you'll see on the back it has a NP style battery connector, which can slot into any production monitor that supports the Sony NP style battery, including things like the Ninja V. It also has power output through the battery connector. So Dan will get into that in a second. So this is perfect to throw in your kit, chuck it on the back of your monitor, and you can do NDI while you're doing your recording and things like that.
There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do now is talk through some of the features of the product. So we've got the range. There's two encoder models. There's the Flex In, and then there's the Flex Backpack. All of the models share some common features. So one of these things is our Halo Telly setup. And this is really designed for a couple of things. One is we think it looks really cool, but actually on top of that, it has some really great functions. It's a full 360 view. So wherever you mount this, you can see the Telly light. So if you're using a live production, if you've got a small camera rig or even a large camera rig, both the operator and the talent can see this Telly light and know when they're going on air, or know when they're just about to go on air with preview Telly. So at the moment, we've got a green light on there to show it's on preview, but we can cut to red, whatever we like.
One thing I'd like to point out is we're actually on the back of the Telly light here, but I can see it perfectly. So it's pretty much a 360 Telly system.
Yeah, so it's built into the box. There's no configuration. This is one of the beauties of NDI, and shout out to NewTek on this as well. The NDI ecosystem really allows for some cool features that we do. And so, as Damon mentioned, there's the 5 functions. We've got a couple of extra ones. As we mentioned, there's power output, and we've got another little feature as well, which we'll come up with shortly.
Yep, so we're up to 6 now, right? Power output is the 6th one, yep.
That's it, yeah. So, so with NDI, there's no configuration at all. If you choose your video source, the Telly comes up straight away. So this Halo Telly just lights up and it becomes an integrated part of your production. If you look at this picture here, you can see it's a really neat setup, especially with this backpack. You can just plug it into the back of your screen, it powers everything, and you're ready to go. So it's a really simple way of configuring. So onto this power thing. This is a lot of work's gone on into this, and there's some really deep technical stuff that I could talk about all day. The bottom line is if you run PoE+, so Power over Ethernet Plus, that can deliver to our BirdDog Flex, either the Flex In or the backpack, enough power to power our unit and do all of the fun stuff we do. But then it will also give you an extra 15 watts to power anything you like. So we've got a DC output, a 12-volt DC output you can plug in, and if you wanted to power a DSLR or your camera rig, you can do that. And then we've got the MP-style battery on the backpack where you can just plug that straight into a screen. As Eamon said, we've actually got a Atomos Ninja V here, which is not only a screen, but it's a recorder, and it's got a high bright display. And we're able to power this and run full brightness on the display and record at the same time. So there's enough power to have this whole thing. So we'll go back to the full screen view of our camera shortly, but you can see there's just one cable going in. It drastically simplifies the amount of kit that you need to take with you, but it also just keeps the rig neat and tidy. So it's a really neat way of working.
Absolutely. I like to point out actually that we use BirdDog green cables here, not your blue Ethernet.
That's right.
Yeah, it's important.
That's right. So this is the number 7 feature of the BirdDog Flex range, and it's Ptz Control. So as much as you can see here, we've got a BirdDog Ptz camera in this picture. We would love everyone to use BirdDog Ptzs. We honestly think they're the best value on the market. They've got incredibly great picture quality, and they're super simple to use, and they're great value. But there is a lot of Ptzs out there, and there's people that want to transition into NDI. So if you've got any type of Ptz that works with RS-232 control, with a Flex, you can just use the optional Ptz control cable, and it will make that camera into a full NDI Ptz camera. So that's pretty cool. If you've already got a camera in, say, a house of worship or educational facility, and you want to start moving into an NDI workflow to give you some greater flexibility, maybe for distance learning and things. If you plug one of these boxes in, you can immediately control it. And from the NDI, once again, the beauty of NDI is as soon as you connect to Flex, if you've got a Ptz camera plugged in, it'll appear like a full NDI Ptz camera. So you get the quality of a full NDI picture, you get the really low latency of full NDI, and you get the control that will control your existing Ptz. And this is all built in. The cable is an optional accessory, but we at BirdDog, we really like to keep the value as best we can. So those optional accessories are really low price, and we'll talk about that.
Can I ask you a question? Is that number 7?
That is number 7, yes.
So that's 7 functions down a single Ethernet cable. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you'll notice there on that same picture, we've got the RS-232 control, but there's also the headset control. And we could talk all day about our software applications as well. Within BirdDog, we also have a comms application. So you can set up with any of these devices, whether it's a BirdDog Flex or whether it's one of our other BirdDog products, and plug in a headset.
Including these old guys,
and talk to your camera operators. So all within this one tiny little box, it's all done. And this is the exciting part. And Eamon, go for it. You can do it.
Yeah, okay. So Flex is $399 for all models. That's US dollars pricing. Local pricing will vary, of course, depending on exchange rates and things like that and local taxes. So check with your local distributor. But the really exciting thing is Flex In and Flex Backpack are shipping now. And when we say shipping now, they're in stock at your local distributor today. So you can literally buy this today if you want to. There's no waiting. They're in stock.
I think with that, we'll talk about the decoder in just a moment, but this is something that we've really had to bite our tongue about, and I think it's going to pay off, because I think everyone's going to be really excited that they can see this and see the product and be able to get their hands on it. But I think with NDI, it's been this great technology where people have got all sorts of awesome ideas, and there's been a lot of announcements. And hands up, we're one of those companies where we announce a lot of great ideas, and it can take some time for them to come out. But we really think with NDI, there's kind of a point now where we actually need to all get to a point now where when we're announcing a product, we should ship it straight away. So as BirdDog, we're very keen to do that with our announcements moving forward. And I think it's really exciting for everyone to be able to see these products and be able to use them immediately. So,
yeah, absolutely. So these guys, these two, they're in stock they're already shipped into the USA. They're in your local dealer, the distributor. If you are a dealer, they're already in the UK, all through Europe, Australia, New Zealand. They're all over the world.
We've been sneaky.
So in the background, that's what we've been doing. We got a little bit impatient though, and we couldn't wait. This guy, the decoder, will be shipping in September. It's in production now, but we didn't want to wait anymore, so we thought it was time to launch.
So mostly announce and release straight away.
Yes,
so the Flex family is really exciting as far as we're concerned. We spend a lot of time looking at how people want to use productions, and especially this day and age, we've got some really interesting workflows with distance learning and with distance communications that are happening with houses of worship and all sorts of places. This is all accelerated really quickly, and so to be able to have such a small device that allows you to power a bunch of things is a really great tool. And another thing that's really interesting, and this could be good for a lot of people out there, doing regular film shoots and regular production is actually a little tough at the moment with all sorts of lockdowns. We're actually under a lockdown here in Melbourne at the moment, so we've had to make sure there's no one else in the office here. And that's the same thing for productions. So to be able to do a live production with your existing gear, so if you've got a DSLR camera and maybe a Ninja V or something like that, people can reuse that equipment to now start to do live productions without a particularly large investment. So
exactly. I think there's probably Ninja V is a good example. There's probably a lot of these kicking around at the moment in people's production rigs that aren't getting much use. Stick a Flex on the back, and you can attach it to your local your live streaming rig. Sorry, like a TriCaster or a vMix or a Wirecast or a StreamStar or an OBS, and all of these NDI enabled devices. So you can put your production monitor to work. Yeah.
So just a couple of last little bits of housekeeping before I'll cut back to our video screen so we can actually show you a little bit more in full size, because I'm aware that you're looking at our presentation at the moment and we're a little box in the corner. The last bit we've got here is our accessories, and you can see here we've really keenly priced these as well. So the Ptz Control cable is at $14.95 US dollars. And the mount, which I think Eamon's got one somewhere, which we'll show in a moment, which is a camera mount for the Flex In.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Is $19.95. So we want to make sure that accessories aren't insanely priced, and again, they're going to be available really quickly as well. So.
Yeah, these are on their way. They'll be a couple of weeks away, something like that.
So that is the Flex range. What I'm going to do now is just cut back to the full screen video, and then maybe we can do a walk through on how these plugs in and how it all works.
Absolutely, and answer some questions. I notice a lot of people are popping questions into the chat window. Please put them in the Q&A, and we'll answer them in there. Thanks.
Okay, we should be back on full screen now. So you get to see us instead of a pretty presentation. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long time coming for this. We've had to bite our tongues and keep it a secret. It's not really something that I'm very good at personally. So yeah, so it's been quite a challenge.
It has, absolutely. I think for the whole team. So basically, I'm just going to walk through a few bits on. I'll start with the backpack, and then maybe we can have a look at the camera mount and things as well.
Yeah.
So you'll see here we've got this is a Ninja V. It could be any other screen if you've got your own monitor. It's an MP style mount for the battery. And so we can just click it in the back, and you can see we've got this one cable. This is actually running now, and you can see the green halo light there. So that's showing you that this is on preview Telly at the moment. When we click it into the back, it then acts as the power source for the Ninja V. And you can see that as far as it's concerned, it runs up and works just as it normally would. And we've been doing some testing with this, doing long form recording in the fullest quality it has, in the brightest screen that it has, and we can absolutely guarantee that that works. So that's a really exciting configuration that you can have here. A lot of work's gone into this, and again, hats off to the engineers. There's a lot of power, firstly, and as maybe some people know, power has heat involved. And so within this device, there's a lot of thermal management that we've had to work through. And most people think about this and go, well, there's going to be a fan. And there is a fan in this device, but it is insanely quiet. And again, this has been a huge amount of engineering work by the team to make this fan as quiet as possible. And so, you know, with this device, it's inaudible until you have it right up to your ear. It's a really, really great setup. And it means that we can have all of this power that we can use for powering other devices, as well as have our chip in there, which can do all of the full NDI, full quality in 4K.
Yeah, and they stay super cool all day.
Yeah.
Full touch all day. Yeah.
Yep. So from there, did you want to?
Yeah, there was one question here. I'll address this one first. Drew Perry asked why you would buy the Flex over the backpack. I think the easy answer for that one, Drew, is some people don't have a monitor on their their A7 or their GH5 or these kind of small mirrorless or DSLR cameras. Potentially they're using the viewfinder inside them, so they don't have anything to attach it to, and they just want a smaller little device that they can put in the in the nice little camera holder and have that just sitting on top of their rig.
Yeah, exactly. So they're both the same price. So it really is down to a choice of how you plan on using it. If you have a rig where you have a screen, then we think the backpack is the way to go.
Yeah.
But if you want a really small setup, or maybe if you're using it with a Ptz camera, then at that point you wouldn't need the battery plate, and so it becomes a smaller throw down style box. So,
or if you're throwing on a GoPro or something like that, for example. The other thing we need to do, and this is something we just haven't had time yet, is we will publish more over the course of the next few weeks when we get a chance to test more cameras. With the power output, there's potential that you could power a monitor and a camera, and we'll publish some different configurations on that as well. Because there is enough power, hopefully, fingers crossed, to power some of the smaller cameras themselves. Yeah,
so smaller camera rigs where you've got a smaller camera and a screen that's not a recorder, then there's that 15 watts of power. So you can generally look at those specs, but what we will be doing is having configuration guidelines around that as well. Yeah.
There's been a whole bunch of people asking about SDI. Well, one of the things I will say is, how many products have we released in the last 18 months?
We are up to, this is our 19th product.
19 pieces of hardware is it hardware?
Including software, so it's 15.
Including software, okay. So 15 products in the last, it's actually in the last 12 months, isn't it? Yeah, so we're not sitting still. We're innovating like crazy over here. So, if SDI is your bag, then stay tuned, I guess. It's the easiest way to answer that. Yeah.
So there's some links about more details and things as well. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing a follow-up presentation, which we'll pre-record, and we'll make that available on YouTube as well as in various other places, which will be a full walkthrough of the product. So we'll show you how to set it up, how to use it, and various different configurations as well. This particular webinar is more about the product announcements. So we'll have some more information about that. But actually, somewhere round about now, our website should be live. So there'll be more information on the website. And you should see over the course of the next half an hour or so, retailers around the world going live with the product information as well. So again, in Europe and also in the US, as well as all through Asia, Australia and New Zealand, there's stock available, and it's going to be available on websites immediately. Yeah,
the global embargo lifts in 7 minutes. So. Yeah.
That's how good the timing is around the world.
Exactly. Yeah. So Bo Sorensen, I think we answered this already, but let's just cover it off again. He asked if it's plastic or metal and does it get hot like other converters. The answer is no, it doesn't get hot at all. This will stay cool literally all day. It's probably less hot than your phone, I think.
Yeah, it is definitely. It really, and even when you're running external power to another device, it still stays incredibly cool. So it's got a great setup for it. It is a plastic enclosure, and that gives us a couple of things. We actually thought about this quite a lot because our other converters do use metal enclosures. For this product though, because we see it going into places like education and maybe where it's being thrown around a little bit more, having a plastic enclosure actually gives it a little bit more flexibility. So yeah, it can be seen as a good thing or a bad thing, but for this particular product, it is plastic, but it's a really high quality plastic, and the heat and the heat management is really great. So you don't get any heat. And it will be going on smaller camera rigs. So, you know, DSLRs, mirrorless, things like that, they might be going on a smaller tripod. Every kind of gram of weight counts. So, yeah. One thing I did want to mention, Eamon, is the work that you've done around the packaging as well. Did you want to
talk about marketing guy gets to talk about the box. This is my favorite thing. So one of the things that I'm quite proud of, and so is Dan, we're all about doing the best we can for ourselves and others. The packaging itself is 100% recyclable. So every part of the packaging is recyclable. We use soy-based ink, so there's no petrochemicals. So you literally can just throw this in the recycling bin and it will be turned into something else.
And that's everything from all the internal substrates, all of the external side. There's no plastic in our enclosure. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to open it because I'll let you guys have that thrill, I guess, yourself. I don't know. I like opening boxes. The other thing we've done is we haven't printed a manual. So the manual is available online. There's a quick start guide printed internally, just on the side here. So that came from feedback from our user group. I think it was Daniel Charlton, actually, if he's with us, gave us that idea. So we do listen to our customers, and we're continuously trying to improve the company, ourselves, and the products. So we're both quite proud of the packaging.
Very good. How are we going for questions over there, Eamon?
We've got some more. Can you show the size of the Flex next to the original studio for a familiar? Yeah, that's fine. There you go.
So size-wise, it's somewhere between a third. It's less than half the size.
Yeah. Like always, I like to put a few things on our website. So there's some movie quotes and things like that. And
there's also some size.
Yeah, if any of you are Reddit users, well, there's a banana for scale, so you can check it out. These full NDI or NDI HX2, they're full NDI.
Yeah. So BirdDog, as a company, we all of our converters and all of our products work in full NDI. We use that for a reason. We've got various different technologies for getting a video from one place to another. But within our hardware devices, using full NDI allows us to do the higher bitrate and lower latency. And so for us, what we're trying to do with our particular range is make products that are effectively a replacement for an SDI or a baseband video workflow. So the lowest latency and highest picture quality for us is really the premium reason for what we work on, or the ongoing reason for what we do. As far as if you wanted to run lower bitrate to go over longer distances or challenging networks, we do have other solutions for that with our BirdDog Cloud platform. All of our products, including the Flex range, will work with that as well. So we can certainly make SRT style connections from one location to another. And it's important to note, within a local network, working with full bandwidth or full NDI versus HX, there's not necessarily the bandwidth improvements that you might think. If you're working with a TriCaster, for example, it's only really when you've got the video on a program window that you actually are pulling in that bandwidth. So you could have 30 or 40. We've got places that have got over 100 NDI sources on their network, and that scales perfectly well. If anyone's got any concerns about that, we're really happy to help out. So just reach out to us and we can certainly help out around network design to make sure there's no issues around bandwidth.
Yeah, totally. There was another one. Oh, someone asked where you can get them in the UK. There's a where to buy on their website. You can check that out. All of the major video resellers over there though. And our distributor over there is Digibox, so digi-box.co.uk, and they can put you in touch with someone. They're in stock, so that's the good news.
Yeah.
A couple of people have asked about the backpack. Can it power the monitor and a camera? We have to do some more testing, that's the honest truth. But and Dan, correct me if I am wrong here, but there is power out of the battery connector, and there's also DC out. Are they functional at the same time?
They are, yes. So basically the output budget is 15 watts. So depending on what you're using, if you're using a small HD monitor or a small 4K monitor that doesn't record and maybe isn't high bright, then you've probably still got somewhere around about 10 or 12 watts to be able to use in something else. So it might be a small camera like a DSLR. So there's certainly room to have a monitor for recording, a monitor for viewing as well as a DSLR to be powered by that 15 watts. And they're absolutely accessible at the same time.
Cool.
Yep.
Yep. On the heat side, from Brett Bean. Hello, Brett. Thank you for being such a huge supporter. We really appreciate it. Brett's asked on the heat side, how do they compare to a BD Mini? It's maybe a 20th of the heat.
Yeah, so it is a different design. So the BirdDog Mini, they get hot, and they're designed to get hot because the actual enclosure is the heat sink for it. So that's where the heat's supposed to go. So they feel hot, but that's because they're supposed to, and they can get really hot. They're made from industrial components inside. With the Flex, we've gone with a different model, which is an active cooling model. So it doesn't get anywhere near as hot to touch, and that fan setup we have works really well. And that's something that through the course of our engineering over the last 4 years, there's a lot of things that we've learned with the big 4K family, and then through to the Flex. This cooling and the active cooling is quite an art to get the thermals, but also then the sound to a point where it's able to be used in a live production. So it's something you'll have to experience yourself. But from a noise perspective, we can pretty much guarantee it won't be the noisiest device that you use in your camera rig. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely not. There was a message from Cedric. Is this Cedric in France, who I met when I was in Paris? I hope so. Hey, Ced. Asked if there was a backpack that could serve as a two-in-one solution, as in use it as a monitor rig, use it for a monitor rig, and then use it on a rig where the MP battery isn't connected.
Yeah, so you can use it as it is on the monitor. You can also obviously use it without it plugged into the screen. If you want to. It is a slightly larger device. So if you have a look at the unit between the two, it's got the MP battery slot that goes underneath. So all the other functions and features are exactly the same. So you can certainly use it by plugging it into the back of your screen, and then you could use it on your regular camera rig as well. It's up to you on that.
Yep. I just want to shout out to, I hope I'm saying this correctly, Owner Umar. That's quite a detailed question. Please send that to us on email, and we'll answer it that way. It's probably too much to go into on this webinar. It's pretty in depth. So yeah, send it to hello@bird-dog.tv. That actually comes into my inbox, so I'll make sure that I get an answer for you. And I'm happy to post it on Facebook or something like that, so that everybody can see it afterwards. But yeah, timing and yeah, how many lines and stuff like that. It's too detailed for the webinar. Sorry.
So one thing actually that I will talk about while you're looking through some more questions is around timing and latency with our products. One of the things that we've worked on very heavily, and it's featured across all of our products, is our NDI chip. And we've got basically a chip that we've developed ourselves, or the implementation on the FPGA is developed by BirdDog. And the fundamental difference is, as we get video coming in, every 16 lines of video, we're already compressing and converting that into NDI. That means that by the time the frame has received into our device, we're ready to send it across the network. So we've got really low latency, and we've also got really high quality based on that as well. So all of our products feature that. So from a latency point of view, we're obsessive about it. We try and make things as low latency as possible, but also maintaining that quality as well.
Yeah. Brett Beaton asked if the web interface is the same as the other products. It is. Yeah, it's the same. Just log in via the web browser, and it's the same look and feel. We'll probably give that a refresh over time, but for now it's the same.
Yep. I'm also just having a look up on our chat screen on here, and Anthony Barukas is just saying that the review is out. So Amy, do you want to talk about that as well? So thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you. So Anthony Barukas, on behalf of Streaming Media Magazine, got his hands on some units early on. He's published his review there. Anthony, if you can put it into the chat and just make sure you send it to
the Q&A.
Oh, you put it in the chat, and it's live there to all panelists and all attendees, so you can see it there in the chat. Click on that and have a look. I can't wait to see the video. I haven't seen it yet. It's a 22-minute video, so quite excited to see that. So that's pretty in depth as well. So go and check that out.
And this is actually this is one of the benefits of having a product that is shipping now is you can read a review. There is a few other units that have been sent out in various other regions for reviews as well. So hopefully over the next 24 to 48 hours, they'll come up as well.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So obviously the website's just gone live because Doghouse Music has asked, can I use my Master Dog credit card to buy it? You can try. John's always asked how long the battery will last on the backpack. So John, it's not a battery, it's a battery connector. So it's a shimmy, what do you call it? A battery shim almost,
yep.
To go into the battery slot, and then it powers the device over PoE using the Ethernet. So it's not a battery. So it just connects into the battery slot. Yeah. Jeremy Morris, thanks mate. Thanks for joining us. Shout out.
How's it going there? Do you want me to put onto the website just to walk through anything on there, or are you...
Yeah, so do you want to talk about, we've had a couple of questions about Dante.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's a great question, yes. So let me just quickly jump in here and I'll share our screen. So BirdDog announced about a few weeks back, probably around about 6 weeks ago, actually, we announced the Dante support, and that's across our software and hardware families. So we have our Flex range. We've also got our 4K range with 12G SDI and 10 gigabit Ethernet, which is our higher end range of products. We've also got Studio and Mini and our camera range, and we're really proud to have all of those products support support Dante, and that's a bi-directional Dante implementation. So you can take Dante audio in and output that through NDI. You can take NDI audio in and output that through Dante in decode mode, and we can even do some mixing within that as well. So if you're using one of our converters, so if it's a Flex in, for example, and you have embedded audio coming in from your HDMI source, we can take a split of that out to Dante. So we can take the audio that's coming from the HDMI and make that available over Dante to your mixing desk. Yeah. So for a live environment where you wanted to do audio mixing, you can do that with Dante. And that's the same thing with Decode. If you wanted to go to Dante speakers, for example, we can decode that NDI stream and then output the Dante stream somewhere else.
Yeah.
We also have our software as well. So there's Dante Bridge, which will allow us to mix and match. But absolutely, this whole product range, all of our products feature this Dante support as well.
Yeah. So the question, so I'll crank through a couple quickly. Edward Bradley asked, is the Decode model compatible with BirdDog Central? Of course it is. You get Central Lite for free, and then you can get Central Pro for $2.99 until the end of the month. Should I just say it?
Yep, we're going to hear first. Yep.
We're going to reprice. Yeah, you're all here. So we're going to reprice all of our Pro versions of software to $2.99 permanently. So so you can use it with Central Pro for $2.99 and have unlimited sources and unlimited destinations and have grouping as well. Yep. So that's a quick question.
RESTful API, I can see there.
Yep.
Even with my eyes. So again, with this presentation was really about some new features or some new products, but all of the technology we've built around our other products is featured in here as well. So BirdDog has a really in-depth API structure. So we're able to control encoders, decoders, and also our cameras via our API. We've also got Crestron libraries. So we've already got pre-built libraries that allow you to just drop that into your Crestron system and control either your encoder or decoder to change sources and change settings. We've also got, this particular meeting is running in Zoom. So we've got Zoom integration as well. So within Zoom rooms, we can have control over our BirdDog sources, our BirdDog cameras, and that includes the Flex range. So the API is a really well-established and well-featured API.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just crank through a couple as well. Drew Perry asked, is there any configuration via website, app, or similar? Is it just plug and go? Well, it should be plug and go, but if you're having any problems with the resolution, you can log into the web browser and change it. It's the same as all of our other products. There's a little bit of information down the bottom of our website about the dashboard. We've renamed it dashboard.
Move that down.
Yeah, so it's down there. Brett's asked if you can disable the tally on the units.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can via the web GUI. Sorry, dashboard now. Marketing guy, keep up. Edward says, yeah, great that they're in stock immediately. He said, asked about shipping on other things, including Dante. So did you, I was tuned out a little bit. Did you talk about when?
No, I didn't talk about timing with Dante.
Okay.
So Dante, we have a rollout for our products with Dante. The first product that will support Dante is our BirdDog Cloud application. BirdDog Cloud allows you to send video from one location to another, as well as all of the NDI control. So you can control PTZs and you can do all sorts of teleporting of NDI sources around the place. And that now extends to Dante as well. So we can take a Dante source from one location in the world and send that over to somewhere else. And we can even do that with uncompressed if you wanted to, rather than AAC compression.
Yep.
So that's the first product that's coming out. And then from there, the software products will be released, and that's Dante Bridge and Comms. And that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. We're getting very close to releasing those. As far as the hardware-based implementation, that will be the last one. It is, I'm sure you can all understand, the more tricky of the lot to get working.
Yep.
And actually, these are the first hardware products in the world that have this new implementation of Dante that allows us to enable these in the field. So normally when you buy a Dante piece of hardware, it's already applied with the Dante license on a chip.
Yeah.
With our Dante implementation, it's something you can enable ad hoc, so whenever you want to, whether it's now or whether it's in the future on a per device. And so this is something new for us, obviously, but it's also something new for Ordinate and for Dante. So we're just working through that. It's all coming along really well. So certainly within the next few weeks, we'll have some announcements around the shipping of software, and probably a couple of weeks after that for the hardware.
Yep. Edward also asked in that same question about P400. That's in manufacturing right now.
Sure is.
I'm not sure on the ETA. You probably know better.
I'm going to put it out here. Yeah. It's leaving the factory on the 14th. So, yeah.
Okay. So add about a week to get it out to the rest of the world, Edward, hopefully, and should be okay. Although stuff is taking a little bit longer out of the warehouse at the moment due to backups in the shipping. There's not enough. Basically, what's happening is there's not enough flights with people on them, and usually that's where the freight goes, is in the spare space underneath the plane. So there's not enough planes flying around the world with people in them, so there's not enough free space, so things are taking longer to get around the place. And 4K quad, it is actually officially shipping, Edward. There is some stock shortages though, and we've got the next shipment coming out towards the end of August, right?
Before then, middle of August.
Middle of August, there we go. So.
And I'm spying on your screen there as well. There's some questions about RGB and YUV color space.
From our friend Peter Wong in Hong Kong.
Ah, there you go. Yes. So,
hi Peter.
Hi Peter. How are you going? So the products both Encode and Decode support YUV, RGB, and also YVU, which is Apple color space out of the box and straight away. So they're available now and they have that support. And just for your benefit, the 4K 12G SDI and the larger 4K products now support RGB and YUV color space as well.
Yeah. Dustin Allen asks if we see Flex as a replacement for Studio. Well, different tools for different uses. Depends if you need SDI, depends if you need 4K. The Studio has a cross converter built in and some other things as well. So it just depends. Yeah. They're not a like for like replacement, that's for sure. And we're definitely not retiring this guy. This will be around for a long time. Said's not from France, he's from Belgium. Okay, well, we'll meet you in Belgium when we can travel it again, Said.
Absolutely.
I'm Mads Bolding from Denmark. Mads, hey Mads, how are you? Good for you to be here. Thank you for joining us. He said, can you talk a little bit about the PTZ control and protocols? Would it be possible, for instance, to use a Panasonic PTZ with the Flex and then connect it to a Panasonic PTZ remote?
I'll take that one, sure. Unless you want to try.
No, that's all yours.
So the PTZ control, what it's doing is when you have either the Flex backpack or the Flex in with the RS232 cable, what this is doing is essentially telling your NDI receiver, whether that's studio monitor, whether it's a Wirecast system, whether it's a TriCaster, it's telling any device out there that this Flex is actually a PTZ camera. And whenever Flex receives a PTZ control command, it's going to send it out the RS232 cord. So this at the moment supports VISCA protocol. So RS232, most cameras out there will support that. Panasonics have limited support for VISCA, but they should do some support, I think, depending on the model. Certainly works with JVC and obviously Sony as well, and various other models. And so essentially with this, it will turn an existing non-NDI PTZ camera into a full NDI PTZ. An interesting comment we were talking about was if you've got a PTZ camera that you buy and you can get an upgrade to the NDI HX license.
Yeah.
But depending on the model of camera, it may actually be a lower cost option to get Flex. And that will give you full NDI and give you all of that control and integration. So it sends everything out.
Yeah, exactly. So
So essentially, it will control it exactly as if it was an NDI Ptz camera. You talk about the controller. The controller at the other end would need to be an NDI controller to control it.
Yeah, Edward Bradley asked a really good question, and thanks for joining us, Edward. I've been in touch with you a fair bit through the Facebook groups and stuff, so thanks for making time to join us. The purpose of the tally light on the decoder model, I'll tell you what the purpose is. It's so that we didn't have to make another mold, and it's actually cheaper to put it in there than it was to take it out. It's hard to explain in terms of the electronics, but we would have had to build a whole new. It would have taken longer and it would have been more expensive to take it out.
You're supposed to be the marketing guy. The reason why is because we can mirror the tally onto a receiver as well. So if this particular receiver is showing the source that's coming from this encoder, we can show the tally light on there as well. So
that too. Phil Hadfield asked about VLOC. I guess we could make a VLOC option, but not at the moment. Are these basically the same as the 4K HDMI unit without the loop? The 4K HDMI unit's got a lot more going on. There's obviously the loop out. There's the aircraft grade aluminium chassis. There's the SFP Plus cage, which has fiber or 10 gig directly out of the unit.
It's also got 12G SDI cross converting built into it.
Correct,
so that even on the HDMI model, we can do a cross convert out to 12G SDI.
And the HDMI version can do 10-bit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so these guys don't do 10-bit, the HDMI one can.
It's got an OLED screen on there as well. So.
And an OLED screen. Yeah, there you go. So there's a fair bit of value in the HDMI one still. Yeah, okay, I think we're getting towards the end of the questions. Will the NDI chip require firmware updates? Well, we update them as we go. It just depends on when we add new features and things. These are fully functional out of the box, so they shouldn't require any firmware updates. You should be able to just plug them in and away they go.
Yeah, there's two things you can look at with firmware updates. Depending on what you're wanting to do, firmware updates can be, and BirdDog do create a lot of firmware updates, and some of those are for maintenance and some of those are for features. If you look at the studio product, for example, this one here, when we first announced it, it could only do encoding, it could only do at 1.5G SDI. There was a whole bunch of things that weren't present that are now present, and they've all been updated thanks to the firmware updates. So being able to update firmware is something we really cherish, and we're very much about adding more and more features over time. We don't want to produce a product and say that's it, and if you want something new, you have to buy a new one. We'd rather add more features to it via firmware updates. So absolutely, there will be firmware updates for it. But I think the question is probably more about, do I need firmware updates to make the thing work? And the answer to that is no. These things are ready to go out of the box.
Yeah. Bo Sorensen, does it encode or decode 8 or 10-bit? It'll do 8-bit encode. And on the decode, can we receive 10-bit and then just decode 8?
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's an interesting question, actually, because NDI at the moment, when you're working within a YUV color space, will be an 8-bit NDI from other sources. So if you're a decoder and you're coming out of another source, it's going to be an 8-bit NDI stream. With our larger NDI encoders, so the 4K range that can do 12G SDI, for example, they can encode into 10-bit. And so then we can send that over. It is a backwards compatible, and I can talk about that offline, and I'll probably do another session on bit depth and color subsampling and all sorts of things. We've got a lot to talk about there.
Yeah. Mikey missed the stream, but Mikey, I'll answer your question, even though we covered it already. So the backpack has an NP style battery mount, so you can plug it into things like an Atomos Ninja. The Flex-In does not have it, so it's smaller. Maybe you can put it on top of a DSLR where you're not using a production monitor, and saves a bit of space. That's the main difference. In fact, it's the only difference. Have we tested, Scott Birch asked, I don't know, salary works, PDZ cameras? No, we haven't tested those yet, Scott, but potentially in the future. Rudy Engels, another, hey Rudy, how you doing? Another friend from Belgium. This is the stream, we've done that one. HDMI cable distance into and out of the Flex. Well, HDMI runs to 100 meters, right? And then
No, not HDMI. So HDMI is limited. So basically, these when we work within these products, we actually have a HDMI driver in there that will get you essentially the longest you can go over a regular HDMI cable. So it really depends on the quality of those cables. If you've got long cable run, specific long length cables, they will work with this. And generally, if you can work with any other HDMI device, it will work with these as well. We certainly haven't reduced any power or any compatibility around that side of things.
Yeah, Darren from Montgomery from Olympia. Hey, Darren, how you doing? One of our users up there. Asked about cloud and if it's going to be part of our repricing. Actually, Darren, what we've done recently, and we were trying to get past Flex to give cloud 2.0 a bit of air. We'll be making a fair bit of noise about that next week. We have repriced cloud so that now the monthly license includes all of the modules. We're not doing modular things anymore. It's just all in one. It's actually on our website now, I believe, so you can go and check it out. If you just go to birddog.tv and navigate to cloud. And yeah, Darren, you've got my details on WhatsApp and stuff. Just shoot me a message. The RS, yes, Daniel, everything's functional. The Ptz control is working. So, how does Comms Lite work? Yeah, Tom. So Comms Lite, basically it's a software application that you load on a Windows computer, and then using the power of NDI, if it's on the same network, you can see our devices. And you basically plug a headset into. Oh yeah,
I was going to be a model.
Yeah, you be part-time hand model.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can plug a headset into the headset port. It will show up inside the comms application, and then you can create a comms group. Basically, there's two versions. There's a light version, which is for free, and it supports up to 5 users and the director. And then there's the paid version, which is going to be $2.99 ongoing, and that supports up to 30 users and 5 groups.
That's right. It's probably worth noting actually the Together program as well. So for houses of worship, education, the software for comms and also Central is available for free for those guys as well. Yeah,
and we're really easygoing guys. So just send us your receipt if you're a school, a church, or a not-for-profit, and we'll send you the software for free. Luke asked, will there be a base amount for the Flex out? It's a good question. I think the answer is yes. We will make one. Probably, we're not really in the business of, making a huge amount of money off accessories. So we might even release the shapes to 3D print, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's absolutely available. Yeah. So from an enclosure design, but just I suppose the point on that is our mounts. The camera mount is $19.95. If there is, and this is something that we do take notice of. So within our user group, a lot of people have joined this webinar based on the social media activity. So yeah, if you do have any interest in that, then certainly reach out to us, because the more we hear about people wanting mounts for certain things and all the rest, and that does certainly shape into the way we think about making them. So
yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Luke, and hello. It's early over there in LA, so cheers for the question, and thanks for joining us. Anthony Barocas, come on, man, you know everything already. He's asked what kind of headset is needed for comms. I think that's a leading question, so we can talk about that. Do you want to? Yeah, it's just basically just a 4-wire or 4-pin connector, 3.5 millimeter. As long as it supports TRS, I can never say that with my stupid speech impediment. TRRS, then you're good to go.
Yeah. So basically, if you're looking, in general at computer-based headsets, gaming headsets, that style of connector will work. So you can use gaming headsets if you want to, but there is also some higher quality ones from companies like Audio-Technica and Sennheiser that work really well as well.
Someone asked if we're using Flex controlling a non-BirdDog PDZ, can we use cam control? I don't think so, right?
That's an interesting question. So at the moment, no, but it's certainly possible. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. So Luke would print a 3D mount for us. Well, yeah, if someone wants to design one, we'll just publish it in a group. It's, as we said, you can buy the metal one from us, or you can, 3D print one. We're not really against that. It's cool.
So Luke, we can provide you with the enclosure dimensions for that.
Yeah, get in touch with us. Maybe give us to next week. It's been a big few days. Yeah, John Zollo asked what the price of the cable and the mount. The cable is $14.95 MSRP in US dollars, and the mount is $19.95 MSRP in US dollars. John, there you go. I think that's basically most of them. Brett's asked where we can apply for a MasterDog credit card. It's not really going to have much on it, Brett, so I'll send you one if you want. Yeah, we've still got lots of people online, so keep pumping the questions in, guys. We'll keep answering them.
Yeah, we're happy to stay here. Obviously, this is going out all over the world. It's we're happy to stay up as late as you want us to. It's night time here, but hey.
Alejandro Lancaster, is that Alex Lancaster from Mexico? Am I talking about the same guy? I hope so. He asked if these are going to discontinue any of the other products.
Yep, and the answer to that is no. So we have a couple of the products here, but today's announcement was all about the Flex family. We really see this as an enabler for people that are doing different styles of production to what the other products were. So we have the Studio range of products, which will absolutely continue on. Studio has SDI, HDMI. It's an aluminium enclosure. It's designed for encoding and decoding. It's a real workhorse for HD productions. So that one absolutely stays there. Then you look at the Mini product, which is really similar to Studio, but only with HDMI. That's an encoder and decoder built in one. So there's some really great workflows that can help out with things like our Zoom room that we have here. It can work really well to be able to decode, but then also do video loop throughs for various different sources. So we see all of our products actually have some useful places. And the Flex family, really where that fits is people that have got perhaps a DSLR, they've got a Ninja V or some other screens, they've got a smaller kit that is a bit more nimble, and this allows them to do live streaming. So we see people using that really well, as well as 4K productions. So we just think having an extended range of products actually is a really good thing. It gives people choice. So.
John just said he sent us a WhatsApp saying we're more than welcome to open the ticketing system and answer more questions in there if we're feeling like it. Thanks, John.
So John heads up our support out of the States.
Yeah. Peter Wong asked about the RS-232 port. Any future plans to let raw RS-232 data go through the port to control potentially other devices than the PDZ?
Look, that's a great question. So we make all our hardware, so everything from the ground up, including all of the chip that we use in there for all the video processing and everything, we've got full control over it. So if there is workflows out there that make sense, then we're certainly open to them. And hopefully you can see with the range of our products and the features we add in over time that we do listen to what people want. So if there is some use cases around using that RS-232 ports for other things, we're certainly all ears on it.
Yep. What else we got? Daniel in Netherlands. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? The RS-232 port is already working. Yes, it is. Is it full Visca? I'll throw that one to you.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. So yes and yes, Daniel. All good. How does the comms light work? I think we just answered that, didn't we? Yep, that's okay. Does Flex out work with all NLEs from the great Gary Batan? You can go for that one.
Cool. So NLEs being nonlinear editors. So generally, people use one of two as an editorial system. So that would be Adobe Premiere or Adobe CC, I should say, with their suites, or they use Avid Media Composer. So the great news is Avid Media Composer has NDI built into it. So when you launch up Avid Media Composer, on your timeline, you've got a button that enables network output, and that will make NDI available. And so all of our products, and absolutely the Flex Decode, will work up to 4K for that monitor. And that allows you, essentially what that gives you is a virtual IO card. So as an Avid editor, you don't need to have a large machine with an IO card and all the other stuff that goes along with it. You can edit in one place, and then anywhere on your network, you can then receive that over NDI and play it back. And we've got 1 frame of latency for that. So it's really low latency coming out of the Avid timeline. It allows for screening rooms, it allows for remote review and approval, and especially in the current circumstances where you do have to socially distance. If you've got 2 separate rooms, you've got the editor in one room that's cutting, and then you've got maybe the producer or director in the other room, they're able to see in real time with no delay and no sort of strange workflows, no routers as far as video routers. They can see any output from any edit suite. You can just quickly choose between any edit suite you like. And the same thing happens actually with all the Adobe suites as well. So Adobe Premiere Pro, as well as Adobe After Effects, you can install the free NDI tools, and that will give you the NDI output on those as well.
Cool. I can answer a few questions. Someone's asked if we can show the web GUI. Is that something we can?
You talk and I'll get it up. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll show the web GUI now for everyone who's asking about that. So
I need
just
to get the serial number. Hang on.
Bear with Dan. He can do that. RJ Posniak. Oh, hey, I recognise your name and things from various groups. Hey, RJ. I think we've traded some emails or something. I'm not sure. Thanks for the nice words. Yes, we did announce a ship date. The Flex In and the Flex Backpack are shipping now. And when we say shipping now, they're literally already in stock with our global distributors and select resellers around the world. So there's already stock in the USA and the UK and Australia, New Zealand, and all through Southeast Asia and China and various places. So yes, it's shipping now. The decoder, the Flex Out, will be shipping in September. Web GUI is coming.
Web GUI is here.
Web GUI is here. So here's the web GUI. I'll let Dan run through it quickly.
Yeah, great. So this, I'm just doing a screen share on my laptop. The web GUI, which we're calling dashboard, is the control mechanism for your BirdDog Flex. And it allows you to set up a bunch of settings. We've got user guides. The password is BirdDog in lowercase, but you can change that password, of course. Once you're in on the web GUI, there's a dashboard that comes up, and this gives you the status of what's going on your device. It'll tell you a bunch of things that you need to know, from the serial number of your unit, and that's really important because the serial number is essentially the unique identifier of this particular BirdDog. If you've named it something different, the name will come up here as well. It tells you how your networking's set up, so you can see exactly what's going on from a configuration, and then your firmware version. So you can see here the Flex version of firmware, and it'll tell you what the connection is as far as your video input formats and whether its status is sending video. I'm just going to jump through this while you look for some of the questions.
Yeah, I
sort of walk through.
Mark Dillon's asked a question about Viz Vector. I just want to make sure that we're actually allowed to. Is that?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure whether that's.
Mark, I think we might just leave that one. I'm not sure if we're giving away secrets with that question. So feel free to ping us an email after. It's just Eamon @ or Dan @ and we can answer that one on email, okay?
Yeah, so I'll just jump back in here just while you're working through those. So we've got our network configurations, Ptz Control. So this is part of where you can set up your control. We can recall presets within here, and then we can set up the Visca Visca addresses as well. So the baud rates and the Visca address. So within here, you've got some basic controls to recall presets, but essentially, once you've got that set up, it will appear as a source that's got a NDI control. System is where you do your firmware updates and things, and you can also choose your NDI network. So all of our products, and Flex included, utilize fully the NDI 4.5, so the very latest version of NDI. And this allows us to work within the regular networking environments that NDI operates in with TCP. It also supports multicast and multi-TCP as well as UDP. So it supports all of the different methodologies of sending video over your network. Some cool stuff that we've got is in the AV setup, and it's under NDI encoding and inputs. So you can choose whether you're in 4K or HD. You can also set it up to be automatic, so it'll choose whatever you have as far as your sources. We can actually encode within here at 422 or 420, so you can choose your color space, and that's for HD as well as 4K. And that's an important distinction because some encoders will only work at 420 in 4K. So working at 422 will give you a higher color subsampling, which will give you better images, especially around contrast and computer-based sources. The really interesting side of things really gets into the NDI encode part. Again, because we have full control over our chip that we do all of the encoding, we can choose our NDI bitrate. So we can go down as low as 60 megabits. So that's 60 megabits per second that it's encoding. But we can also crank it right up to 360 megabits. So that's a really high bitrate. And that means effectively it's being compressed less. So depending on the use you have with this product, there's really good reasons why you'd want to have low bit rates, but there's equally good reasons why you might want to have high bit rates. And so we give you that option to choose where that goes. Onboard tally on and off. So I think that was Brett that was asking about that. There's the feature there.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll talk about here is the failover sources. So NDI Failover is a pretty neat feature. Essentially, if we have a BirdDog Flex that's running here as an encoder, and we turn it off, we unplug it, something happens on the network switch dies, whatever it might be. What we can do within here is nominate a failover source. So any device, so your switcher, whether it's a TriCaster, whether it's a vMix or a Wirecast, when it connects to our BirdDog's Flex, it will also get told, hey, if I disappear as a source, you need to switch over to this one. And this is really good if you're live on air. If you have someone trip over a cable, whatever it might be, if a source disappears, without any intervention at all, the receiver will automatically switch over to whatever you choose here. And this is a very neat feature for anything that's on air where you've got some mission critical. You don't want to have a freeze frame. You don't want to have black video. You can switch over to another camera. You can switch over to a bouncing ball, whatever you choose.
We really should do what Tesla did with Joe mode in their Tesla with the chimes and call that the Brett mode. Because that's a Brett Beenan feature. So thanks, Brett.
Yep. So that's it. And then the last one, as I was mentioning, is firmware updates and passwords. So the user interface in the web user interface, we've deliberately made this as simple as possible because we want people to be able to use it and not be daunted by it. We could put a lot of specs and a lot of things in there, but the point is that this is a device that's being used for production. So we want to make it so if you jump in there, you can change the settings that you need. There's still
lots of people on the chat and people jumping in. So we'll keep answering, but we might have to get a beer in a second.
It is midnight here. So
one of the things I'll address quickly is, yes, this will be available online. As soon as we finish, we're recording at the moment, we'll top and tail it and put it on YouTube. So yes, this will be available and everybody can jump on there. What else we got? Paul, that was for you. So you can get a copy after. It'll just be on our YouTube channel. What version of PoE is needed? There's been a few people ask, can I use PoE, PoE Plus? What do I need?
Yep, so it's PoE Plus or PoE AT is the format. So this device will, when you're running it with all of the additional power, will draw up to 30 watts of power. So it will do a maximum of 30 watts on PoE. So that's PoE Plus, which is also known as 802.3 AT is the format.
Yep, so a lot of people, there's been a few questions. If I'm not using the DC power app to power other devices, can I just use normal PoE to do NDI encoding?
That's a great question that we'll have to get back to. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, okay.
One thing I can talk about, though, that I have tested is with the JVC PTZ. So this will give you an example of the amount of power this thing can deliver. We can use one of these Flex devices to power a JVC PTZ as well as control it. So on top of it just being the controller where you can convert your source to NDI and you can control over Visca, we can go DC out of our encoder and power the JVC PTZ as well. So it becomes a PoE, fully controlled, one cable, one solution for a non-NDI PTZ. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so Edward Bradley, still with us. Thanks, Edward. He said he likes the sound of NDI Failover. The NDI Failover mode be enabled in updates on the other products too?
You know what? It's already there. It's a sleeper feature. So as long as you're in version 3 firmware on any of our devices, you'll already have that in there. We just haven't spoken about it, which probably highlights we need to do more of these videos. So.
Yeah, and you probably need to hire a new marketing guy too. Support for 180 degree or 360 degree video PTZ eventually. Never say never, but yeah, it's technically possible, but it's not something we have yet there, William. Someone's asked about security of the NDI sources. So you can password protect the GUI. How do you secure the NDI sources on the LAN?
Yep, there's a couple of things you can do. NDI is not designed to be a secure protocol for sending over insecure networks. NDI is designed to have it set up in a logical way. From a networking ring fence kind of setup. So you've got a couple of choices with security. Your basic security is that as long as you're on the same IP network, you'll be able to see a source. So it's open for people to view. NDI does have access manager, and that's a way that you can put NDI sources into certain groups. And with those groups, you're then able to hide them from people that don't belong to that access group. So you can hide them away. They're not encrypted, they're just hidden. So the discovery server won't report those sources to the receiver if that receiver is not in that group. So we can hide sources, but once again, that's not actually a security feature as such. It's more of a hiding and enabling, depending on what you wanted. Really, if you want it to be fully secure, you need to have a separate VLAN for that. So you can run it over the same cables as other things in the network, but you would need to set up a separate VLAN to be truly secure.
Yeah. I got a question from Joshua Pullen. Hopefully he's still with us. He asked this one about 15 minutes ago. On the BirdDog Mini, when I've tried to use a 20-meter HDMI cable with an internal extender inside the cable, okay, I've had to add something to boost the HDMI to work. Also, HDMI to VGA adapters don't work unless they're active. powered, would that be different on the Flex? I think the short answer is no, right? It'd be the same.
Well, it's different hardware inside.
Okay.
So HDMI is a bit of an interesting can of worms to open up because it's heavily dependent on the source, the cable, and then the receiver as well. So we do everything we can, and this is a different architecture inside. So it will likely behave slightly differently. I would have a guess to say that it is a higher power receiver. But at the same time, it really is very reliant on the cables that you use, and is very reliant on the source as well. So unfortunately, I can't give you a direct answer. Yes, it will work with certain things, but you've certainly got a good chance to try. So.
Cool. Could I control the NDI source on a Flex 4K out with a Ptz keyboard in order to select a camera that you're controlling, for example?
Control the keyboard. Hang on, I'm
control the NDI source to on a Flex 4K out with a Ptz keyboard.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There you go, Drew. That was an easy one. Once we worked it out. Do any of the US retailers already have the Flex 4K in stock? From Alejandro Lancaster, the answer is yes. B&H will, Washington Pro Systems will, all kinds of resellers over there. So just go to our where to buy. There's a whole list of them. Yeah. Darren Montgomery, what challenges are there for NDI over Wi-Fi? Bandwidth is the answer there, Darren. Basically, Wi-Fi is what it is, right? Like if you want to send a video over Wi-Fi, it needs to be low bandwidth. It's pretty much the reason that HX came out was for Wi-Fi applications. We don't really have much of a HX story at the moment, so we don't really talk about NDI over Wi-Fi. It can be done. We know of customers that are using like, what are they called? The Ubiquity point-to-point.
Unify, I think they call it.
Unify, yeah. So there's a guy called Toby Mills in New Zealand who's done a lot of work with those, and he says they work really well. Yeah, so, but yeah, at the moment, not really, is the short answer.
Yeah.
It is possible, you just need the bandwidth.
Yeah, look, I think there's certainly people that use it, but again, it's sort of in the same vein as HDMI, where we can't give you a definitive answer because it really is dependent on your environment. And the caution with wireless is just because it works in testing doesn't mean it's going to work in production.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think a cable's still the most reliable way. Not sure about this one. Maybe you can. Would you add RS-232 support for the Blackmagic Micro Studio camera? The port on that camera allows for lens and camera color controls.
Sounds like a pretty good option. Yep. At the moment, it's Visca control, but as per the previous discussion around being able to do other things with that RS-232, that's a great example where I can see that being a really good option. So it's a great suggestion is all I can say with that one. So thanks, Drew.
Yep. Miguel from Manila. Hey, Miguel, how you doing? Might have been asked before, but what voltage does it need to run on?
So there's two inputs. You've got power over Ethernet as the input, so it'll run just off the Ethernet cable here, and that runs with PoE plus. So it's got 54 volts coming in, and it will convert that into internally the power it needs. It's also got a DC 12 volt input as well, so you can power it just via a regular 12 volt power supply. They come with a power supply with global plugs, so if you didn't have a PoE infrastructure, you can certainly plug that in. One thing to caution you actually on is the power supply is designed to power the unit itself. So if you're using a backpack, for example, if you want to run the power for this Ninja, for example, and the unit, then you want to run that off PoE, not off the included power supply. Yeah. Anthony Corcoran asked this question about 50 minutes ago. I'm sorry, Anthony. Hopefully you're still with us. If using PoE, for example, decoding onto a TV, can you also have power connected and have redundancy in terms of failover for power? Yes, absolutely. You can have both power in at the same time. Yeah. It'll default use the DC input, won't it? If you've got them both plugged in, it will run off the DC, and then if the DC disappears, it'll go to power over Ethernet. Yes. Sure. Look, I think that's pretty much it. Any more questions, guys? I think we're getting to the end of them. So, yeah, if you got more, then hit us. Otherwise, it's beer o'clock here. So I think a couple of things to note is the website's live. So if you want some more information, have a look at bird-dog.tv. Yep. We'll also be posting up some reviews. Anthony Barocas has already mentioned there's one there. So as we get some reviews, we'll be sharing those on social and also on the website. And on top of that, we'll also be doing some more videos about using the product, so how it plugs in and as far as control, working with various editing systems as well as various switching systems. So really, I think the only thing I want to say if we're getting close to finishing is thank you everybody for listening, and really thank you for being supporters of BirdDog and our customers in a lot of cases, because without your support and also without the suggestions you have, then we wouldn't be making these products. So we really are appreciative. We're a homegrown Aussie company. We work pretty hard to try and make these things. We're probably smaller than you realise, but we really do care when people enjoy our products, and we enjoy making them for that. So thanks very much for listening. So.
Yeah, thanks guys. And there was a bit of feedback that we should do these more often, and so let's do that.
Yep, I agree.
We'll make ourselves more available to answer more of your questions in this format. I think that's a good idea. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks guys. Thanks
very much. So just a footnote is that probably tomorrow we'll have this video webinar available on YouTube. So if people want to watch it again, I am aware that as Aussies, we do speak quite quickly. So I'm not sure whether we can get subtitles, but we'll do our best. So.
I don't think the the AI programs that do it automatically recognize my voice. So
okay.
I can't use Siri. I can't use anything. So
if anyone had any troubles understanding, just
email me.
Just email us, and we'll get back to you. So.
I'll ask someone to translate into English. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Cheers. Just close everything. I think is.
No, you need to
leave.